most of us, the delicate balance between seeking validation and pursuing our dreams. So basically, it's a subject close to my heart and definitely Neeta's also. And I believe it's crucial for personal and professional growth as well. So we have seen struggles and that come with our journey, and I have seen how it can impact our careers because we have been there, seen that and everything. Our careers, relationship, and overall well-being, the personality we are. So I know many of you can relate to the desire for validation and the drive to follow your dreams, and that's what make this discussion so important. So I have with me my co-host, my friend Neetta Singh. She is a certified life coach with 14 plus years of experience and an accomplished author. Her passion lies in helping individuals uncover their purpose, elevate self-value, and nurture self-worth. So, Neeta, before we proceed with the topic, just a small introduction from your end.
Sure. Hi everyone, my name is Neetta Singh. I'm an author and a life coach, and I help people in developing themselves, connecting deeper with themselves, and that's what for me self-image and self-worth is all about, and that's about me.
Okay, and everyone, you already know me. And if you don't know me, you need to visit my LinkedIn profile and check who am I. I'm a certified life coach. Have been in practice from last 4.5 years, and accomplished author as well for the book Building Lasting Relationships. And we both are together to present you this beautiful topic, which is validating. What is the requirement for validation? So basically, Neeta, like what is the fundamental difference between seeking validation and when we talk about genuine appreciation?
Seeking validation is, I think there's a very thin line in that, Jyoti. Appreciation comes, when you're not even expecting it, and people just come and appreciate when you have done something nice, or if they have come across something that they feel is very genuine. So that is appreciation. While validation is, that you are striving hard to accomplish something, and then you're waiting for someone to tell you that, oh, you have done a great job. So that gives you that feeling of fulfillment. So I think that's what the difference is between seeking validation and getting appreciation.
Yes, and by my experience, through my experience, I have seen that if you are basically if you're always seeking appreciation, so there is some problem with the upbringing that we had. What people who validates is basically a direct shadow of when we were kids. Us having a need and desire for approval, and many times what happens is maybe we did receive it or we did not receive it. Maybe the parents or whoever are the guardians, they always ask the child that you're not good enough, you're not good enough, and that created something in the mind of the children, and that has been inculcating since years. I think if you are unshaken by 8 worldly conditions and you have a strong mindset to overcome, when you are not thinking about praise and blame, gain and loss, fame and disgrace, pleasure and pain. So these are the conditions. If you are able to conquer these conditions, then definitely you don't need any external validation. What do you think, Nita?
True, true. I agree with what you have said, but I feel somehow not a lot of people are mentally strong enough, to understand that they don't need validation outside. And like you mentioned about, as we are growing up as a child, when the child is growing up, the child is always looking for approval towards the parent, no matter whatever activity the child is doing. The child is always looking up to his parents, and once he or she receives a yes, and then the particular child goes ahead with that activity. And that is how eventually you grow up, and somehow it gets fixed into our mind that, if our parents are saying yes to it, then I should go ahead with this. If our parents are saying no, then I shouldn't go ahead with this. And I guess sometimes people forget to draw a line that now I'm a grown up adult, I am capable of taking decisions. You can definitely ask for opinion, but they forget uh, I think the difference in that line, and they are constantly seeking validation. And therefore, I feel that when they grow up, they end up getting so frustrated and feeling lost because nobody's appreciating them. Of course, because parents can't be there with you everywhere, all the place, all the time.
Hmm. Yeah. So, correctly said, seeking validation can definitely lead to a fear of failure, because every time you are anticipating that if you do something on your own, there is a fear of failure and an
Hmm.
unwillingness to take risk, you know.
Hmm.
So, people will blame me if I will take this decision, if I'll go with this particular decision, if I take something on my, decide something on my own. So, when we constantly
Hmm.
seek approval, we may become hesitant to pursue our dreams, feeling the possibility of rejection. And that's what happened in most of the cases. And a live example is Walt Disney, who faced numerous rejection in his early career. However, he perceived believing in his dreams of creating Disneyland. That's a live example in front of us. And
Absolutely.
the Disney World,
Yes.
which became iconic success. So, Neeta, that is my opinion. But what do you think? How can the quest for validation hinder our progress and dreams?
Well, I think it can be a major cause of a mental breakdown for a person if they are not able to identify it and if they are not able to work on it sooner, because we all have been big fan of Friends, the serial, the 90s. We grew up watching their series. And we recently came to know that Matthew Perry died. And I came across one of his video where he was speaking about his mother as a child and how she was so beautiful and all the attention was on her. And he said that all I wanted her was just to turn back and look at me, and come and hug me, you know. But the entire attention was on her, and he grew up with that. What should I say? The feeling of constantly getting love from his mother, that hug from his mother. Probably he missed it all over his life. That comfort, that validation. That I'm your mom. Everything will be fine. Things will be good. So if as a person you're not able to identify and work on this at early stages, then on later stages it can take a very what do I say, a difficult kind of a stage where you will find it difficult to handle. It will be very challenging to handle that for yourself. So I guess the earlier you come to know about these causes and symptoms, the sooner you start working, it's better for you.
Correct. And Neither that reminded me of a beautiful, instance that happened in one of my organizations. There was a guy, and whenever he used to do something, he was assigned a particular task for that 8 hours. So whenever he was supposed to do something, every time he reached out to the seniors, or even if the person is not a senior, at least he is in the team. He always tries to get a confirmation from this particular person, only because if there is an error that will come, there is a head that he can bang on that I checked with this particular person. It was not all my mistake. And every time, and this concept made him get errors on a monthly basis. Every month he used to get errors only because of his thought process that I should not be getting errors. I should not be getting errors. And so I need to validate this. He was knowing the process from the bottom of his heart. If you have spent 5 7 years in an organization, definitely you know the process, you know the system, because
True,
that
true.
is something that you have been doing. So what do you think, like definitely it hindered his growth, his promotion, everything. But that's something that I can recall right now at this moment. So could you share an inspiring success story of someone who conquered the challenge of validation seeking?
Wow, I would actually like to speak about my boss when I came to Mumbai and I started working. At that time, this company was called as IDBI Fortis Life Insurance. That was the name it started with. And I was still employee number 68. So I was like well within the first 100 employees of the company. And my boss, who is today the CEO of India First Life Insurance, her name is Vishakha. and I used to be so awe-inspired by her because she had hell lot of responsibilities on her head, whether it was taking care of her children, whether it was taking care of our team, whether it was taking care of bank insurance, and the way she would juggle. I never saw her seeking validation from anyone. I mean, she had such a killer attitude. It gave so much of inspiration to me. Like, she always knew what she had to do. She was quite aware of the process, what she had to do, and what was the outcome that she wanted out of it. She always worked with a calm state of mind, even when there was so much of chaos, and deadlines to meet. And till today, I am such, uh, like
Admirer.
mesmerized with the way she manages everything. Oh my! So she's been one lady who has shaped me in working on my confidence, decision making skills, and like hell, I don't need your validation. I know what I'm doing right, and if I go wrong, I'm there to take responsibility of that. So that
Mhm.
was something I learned from it. So yeah, I mean, y'all can go and check her profile. And she's one amazing feisty lady.
Correct. So when we talk about seeking validation and getting influenced by someone, these are two different aspects altogether. You know, I may get influenced by someone who is doing an awesome job, who has the capability or capacity of taking decisions on his own. We get mesmerized or we get influenced by these people. But whatever you are doing, there is some sort of self doubt, and I think that has been inculcated from the very upbringing of ourselves as a child. We have an amazing comment of amazing Adi. Needing validation as evolutionary roots from our species evolving 1001 to thousands of years. Yeah, great. So it won't ever go away. The only solution is to be mindful of it, recognizing it, correcting it by action. Yeah, that's true. So,
Very well said.
mindfulness training and talking to children about the fallacies of human mind can make them better equipped to deal with cognitive dispositions. Wish education institutes did something. Yes, correct. Amazing, Adi. Yeah, so we had a lot to talk about the education institution, but at the same time, striking a balance involves self awareness and setting boundaries as well. You know, so we should be practicing self-compassion, learn to accept constructive criticism, and set achievable goals. So these are some things which I am a big fan of Oprah Winfrey, for instance, and Oprah Winfrey achieved so much in her life, and that's a remarkable balance by remaining true to yourself, your values, your purpose, and she created her presence. Coming from a community which was not at all appreciated at that moment, and then rocking that world. Creating a media empire that celebrated authenticity while not compromising her vision of success. So she did not go to white people and seek validation. So that is an
True.
amazing story of Oprah that we should be learning it from.
Yes, true, true, true. I, and also considering that she had a very abusive childhood as well, so either she could have chosen to stay in a pitiful state and keep crying on self pity and oh, the world is very unfair. However, she happy Diwali. Yeah. Yeah. So, but she chose to stand out from her pain, and she converted her pain into power. And this is what I want to highlight. We, like you said, the story of Walt Disney, the story of Oprah Winfrey. So we have a lot of stories amongst us, live examples amongst us, Jyoti. But I don't think so. A lot of people choose to take. How do I put it? Inspiration from that. Inspiration, that if they can do it, I can also do it because they don't have either. They don't have the confidence, or they think it's like oh, it worked for them. I'm not sure if it will work for me, and that's one thing. So I think it all starts with how you think about yourself. you
Mhm.
know you can be as powerful and as great as the Bill Gates, or you can be as compassionate and big as our Ratan Tata. Okay, there is no stopping you, But if you are not going to have that power of belief in yourself, if you're not going to believe in all these inspiring stories around yourself to build that change inside you, then I guess nothing will work for you. So similarly, I feel when you spoke about the team building activity also, Jyoti, now this discussion we are doing as colleagues, who are wanting to share this knowledge and how things work for people. But I don't know, as a team leader in how many companies, how these people actually deal with their teammates on a day-to-day basis. Are they even aware of what are the way, how they should be making their team work together, how they all should be aligned towards the same process or the outcome or the goal that they have. Uh, how is the team performing? So these are things I think that people need to really take themselves seriously and start working to see the change that they want to see the change in their team. It has to start from you.
Yes. So we have another comment. The comparison against Oprah Winfrey and other successful people is another form of validation that the society is obsessed with. Truly said, yeah. Society is actually obsessed with a lot of things. Everyone or whoever is there. I am on my journey. Whatever I'm doing, I need to have a stamping done by someone or the other. That stamping actually is not required. Everyone is unique, and as a society, we should celebrate that. So that's rightly said. Janita, you want to say add something to that?
No, I just wanted to say, yeah, of course, they're successful people because they chose to work on their drawbacks, their flaws, or the pain in their life, and they chose to overcome those pains, So that's why I think it's a good way to look up to them and work similarly because, see, as a human being, it's not necessary that you're always surrounded by people who are supportive, who are there for you. You might be having a lonely journey in this world,
Mhm.
and something that keeps you surviving or keeps your hopes alive are these stories,
Correct.
so that's why I think, sharing these stories, telling yourself these stories is very important because when you keep telling these stories to yourself, you are increasing the confidence in yourself that even when no one is there around you, even when no one is there to support you, even when you're completely broken, there's still hope because if other people have done it in worst of situations, you know you too can attempt to work on it, because you're in a far better situation than them. So I think that's how I would choose to look at these inspiring. I mean, look at the author of Harry Potter. I mean, she had such an abusive marriage. She went to almost 12 publishers before her book got published, and it's today one of the best sellers. So probably sometimes the diamond needs a bit of grinding to go through before the shine comes through.
Yeah, Anita, on that topic, I was about to share the story of J.K. Rowling's, who's the author of Harry Potter series. So, apart
Yes,
from the
yes.
personal life as well, she faced a lot of rejection from publishers. But her
True, true.
dream of becoming a published author made her continue on the journey. And she did not let external validation dictate her path. And definitely, she became a global sensation, and that is the power of self belief and resilience that we should be following. And Nita, what I have followed is, whenever, I judge myself based on whether I need to be in touch with this particular person, whether I need to take suggestions from this particular person or not. So I just throw a question. Okay, what do you think? Should I do it? I have my mind, very clear. I am very clear in my mind what I'm supposed to do. But if someone says you're not supposed to do, so I just thought of figure out that this is not a person who is gonna help me in my journey ahead. So that is the clarity that you need instead of getting hypnotized or influenced by what society has to say. You need to make your own judgment. Only getting information and implementing will not do. You have to process it in your own way. So processing is of
True,
utmost
true.
importance, right?
Absolutely. I mean, look at you and me, Jyoti, when we started off together. We did get some comments in that you need to go individually, you shouldn't be starting together. So, but that's okay, I feel we are here to set an example that there are two women who can be looked in a different way, who are here to be supportive to each other, who are here to enhance each other's imperfections, and yet grow in this world, So two women coming together can be equally empowering as well. And I guess that's the example I want to set along with you, to everyone who's watching this, that it's not just that two women come and just keep bickering about everyone else and pull everyone else down. No, we are more about on the sides of working compassionately and empowering each other and growing together. So I guess we are doing a great job.
Correct. Understanding the strength of, you are good at creating a lot of things when we talk about software and technology and all. And I am so extrovert, so I'm good at, interacting with people. So that way, if you are able to understand someone, definitely you can team it up. So that is the importance. And
Absolutely.
Lisa, if you remember the thing, you recollect, if you can recollect, you said that people, a woman at the mediocre level, they are jealous of another woman, but women who are at the
True.
top notch, at the top level, they always
True.
team up with the females. So that is of utmost
Absolutely.
importance.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's what I also learned from my first female boss that I ever had. I mean, we just spoke about her. So that actually gave me a very different perspective of looking at women, because until then, to be very honest, even I thought, that no woman wants to see another woman succeed, especially in the corporate world.
Mhm.
But the way she handled everything, and the way she appreciated little things, which other people overlooked. So I used to be like, oh my god, oh, she noticed this, oh my god, she can see this, so for me it used to be a very big thing, like, and that's how I started learning and understanding and developing these skills inside of me. So I'm extremely grateful I had a great opportunity to work with her.
Yeah, correct. So basically, seeking validation. Okay, so let's talk about seeking validation in a relationship. When we talk about spouse relationship, or maybe father, mother, or parents, or maybe your sister or a brother, all these relationships. Just give me a moment. Yeah. So when we talk about the relationship with our family members, so seeking validation in those relationships can also create an unhealthy, dynamic, wherein someone is, questioning their own self worth, and that should not be dependent on external factors. Your self worth is your self worth. How much confident you are of your capabilities. So codependency should not be there, because that what will happen is that will strain relationship. And what do you think? How does external validation, getting validated by someone, or every time looking for validation from your spouse, from your sisters, from your brother, from your parents or guardian, how does that impact?
I think, I heard this story long back, even when, I guess life coaching became a big, huge business. I think almost about 10 years back, when emails used to be the thing, and that's where someone had shared the story and it stayed with me. So I'll just tell the gist of the story. The gist of the story was, there were two very a successful couple, okay, very successful in their careers, and they threw a success party and they called all these biggies, of the corporate world and all, and they were just meeting, greeting, and talking. And apparently, one of the lady went to the wife and she asked, so what does your husband do to keep you so happy? So she just looked at her and she said, my husband doesn't make me happy. And there was silence, pin drop silence in that entire hall. And everyone started thinking, what's going to happen now? She said, we both do our jobs, we both do our work, but it is my job to keep myself happy. So he
Mhm.
does his part and I do my part. And whenever we are winning, or either of us are winning, we choose to celebrate that. And I think that's how the balance needs to be done when it comes to your relationship with spouse. Instead of getting jealous that my wife is doing better than me or my husband is doing better than me, or constantly seeking validation that if my husband approves this, only then I can do this.
Mhm.
I don't think so. if you are genuinely doing the right thing, you really don't need an approval from anybody. You
Correct.
should probably just go ahead with it, because
Mhm.
you're not a child, that you need to seek validation first from your parents, then you grow up, you get married, then you're seeking validation from your husband and in-laws. So unless you're doing the right thing, and I think you should just go ahead with it. There's no point. It just adds to frustration and a lot of other things that you don't want.
Yeah, rightly said, Neeta. And I just got reminded of one example of, we should not be saying that, but that's a reality. The story of Steve Jobs, whose quest for perfection sometimes strained the professional relationships he has, right? So, learning to balance
Yes.
ambition with collaboration is the key. That's the key
True,
to
true,
success
true.
as well. Okay, now
Absolutely.
okay, let's talk about the strategies. Do you think there are any strategies for fostering genuine appreciation when we talk about our workplace, be it business or interacting, communicating with your subordinates, or if you are job professional, even a CEO, HO, or HOD of an organization? How should what are the strategies for fostering genuine appreciation, or what should be the language to interact with people?
Wow, it's a nice question. I think my last job that I left was with a bank, and I had a pretty good relationship with almost all the departments, all the teams. And I think it has to do with the way you interact with them, the way you listen to them, and the way you're responding to them. If you're too much in a hurry to, oh yeah, 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 we can do this, we can do this. So when there is too much of hurriedness to do rush into things, I guess that's when things go a bit north. So patience is the key over here, I feel. Having patience, having uh, compassionate way to communicate, not an authoritative way, because I don't think so anyone likes people who are going to be authoritative and dominating. And that's where I think a lot of people face challenges at, oh, my team leader is way too dominating, he or she thinks too much. So handling that becomes a little difficult when
Mhm.
you are facing these kind of situations. So the best you can do is, whatever you are doing the work, I think you should genuinely give it your best. Try to prove your worth. Try to show what is it that you bring to the table, instead of complaining and bickering about what you don't like about other people. Because they say, energy flows where your thoughts go. So if you are constantly going to think about things that are not taking you or elevating you up, but are bringing you down, and that's going to affect your performance and everything, and it's going to show everywhere, in
Mhm.
terms of your work, in terms of your body language, in terms of your conversation. So I think no matter what happens, you have to be very, very aware about the way you communicate and talk to people and interact with people.
Correct. And Neither, you know what, from my experience, I can say that definitely I am an associate. I am working in an organization. Definitely, I'm trying everything to be perfect, try to deliver 99% of the things, because no one can be 100% correct, right? So I'm trying to do everything. But what about, I'm talking about associate perspective. So when I used to be a line manager, what I used to do is, creating a culture of appreciation. So people say that someone is not doing something in correct, so you need to provide a feedback. So feedback is definitely important, but at the same time, pat at the back is equally important. So have you ever
True.
heard this conversation that someone stood up first or second grade in a classroom or in the organization? So no one is going to that person and appreciating, wow, you did a great job. But everyone is taking this particular guy to a meeting room who is not performing. So definitely the person who is actually ranking the charts, he will also feel demotivated. That what's the point? What's the point of doing everything when no one is, recognizing me? So encouraging a culture of appreciation involves
Hmm.
recognizing and rewarding individuals and achievements as well. Highlight the achievements.
Hmm.
There is a famous example,
Absolutely.
which is Google's 20% time policy. So
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
allowed individuals or employees to work on personal projects, and that
Hmm.
helped. fostering a sense of ownership and appreciation. So what Google did is they allowed the employees to work on their own, whatever they want to do, and that led to innovation like Gmail that we are using on a day-to-day basis. So that's a very live example.
Absolutely. So when there is no pressure to perform, and there is no pressure or a timeline within a time frame within which you have to do something, I
Deadline,
think
yeah,
that's when things ease out a little. But at the same time, of course, we do need timelines because we need to have a dedicated outcome. So if you're not going to have timelines, then the work will just keep on getting extended. So I guess that's like a work-life balance that
yeah,
we have
correct.
to do.
Correct. So let's now go to our very basics, like when we were children. Okay. So as a children, we learn by example. We learn by looking at our parents, what our parents are doing, what our teachers are doing. So it is really important to create an environment where the efforts of parents, the educators, and should be in a way wherein they are appreciative of what the children are doing. Not always pinpointing on their mistakes, highlighting what they did is not correct. And that a very famous example is a story of Malala, you know, who stood for girls' education, and despite everything, whatever societal, whatever pressure, or you can say, she worked in a way that shows the impact of instilling self-worth and resilience in children from a very young age. So how can we teach? You are a mom of two, so that's a question. That's why I'm just asking you this question. How can we teach
Sure.
children the importance of genuine appreciation and not relying on constant validation?
Wow. Uh, Handling children these days is a very tricky situation, uh, because they are overexposed to too many things that we were not as kids.
Yeah.
So we have to consider a lot of factors, especially when we are dealing with our children, considering the fact that they have set of friends, and not everyone is actually a friend. Some want to bring you down. Some friends will be genuinely there for you. Some will be bullying, comparing your labels, your brands. So I think in this context, having a day to day healthy conversation with your child is the only key. As parent, you have to take time out to have a 15-20 minutes of a healthy one-on-one heart-to-heart conversation with your child to build that trust, so that the child can confide about the issue that he or she is dealing with. And then as a parent, you can always tell them, like for my son, uh, he was bullied a lot in the school, extremely bullied to the extent that it affected his emotions and he went into a shell and he couldn't stand up for himself. So for me, it was a big task to sit and work and build that level of confidence in him and make him understand that as a mom, I can't be with you everywhere 24 by 7. So there will be moments when you will be feeling completely let down or getting bullied by someone, but you have to stand up and answer back, and ask them, question them back.
Mhm.
Once you will have that courage of questioning back, you will know that it's not so difficult to face them. And
Mhm.
that's exactly what he did. It was not an easy task, trust me. It was a very, very challenging phase of 4 5 years that went
Mhm.
by. But I'm happy that we worked together on this to make him this confident boy that he is today. Because I myself, as a child, went through a lot of validation kind of a thing, because I have been very tomboyish since my young days. I have never had, like women are supposed to have long hair and they're supposed to look very feminine, and like these are the labels for women, right? I never fitted into those labels somehow. And I always had short hair and I was like very always in my t-shirts and jeans, and I just never fitted the picture of a traditional girl. And because of that, my friends, my family, my relatives, everyone thought that she's not someone who can manage a house, who can cook food, who can, pray, or whatever other typical things that people have.
make mithai, make sweets.
Yeah, I mean, people thought that I can't cook food and I can't do things. So, yeah, but I mean, I'm laughing today, but to be very honest, for a very long period of time, I struggled, I struggled because I went into this phase of, showing everyone, whether it was my family or my friends, like cooking food, doing this and doing that, and showing them that, oh, no, 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 see, I'm a good person, no, I can cook food, no, I can pray, I can do this, I can do that. And it was very exhausting and painful for me. Deep inside, it used to like hurt me. It used to literally, I used to feel my heart squeezed, because I just couldn't understand why people won't accept me the way I am, the way I look. Like, what does it have to do with this femininity or long hair or what? Like, and does it make me lesser of a woman? So, it took a very, very long time, I would say, because for me, there was no support. Okay. I had nowhere to look up to. As I kept growing and moving ahead in my journey as a girl, from a girl to a married woman, as a mother, certain incidences that kept happening, and then thankfully I had this attitude of picking up, what's there to learn from this.
Mhm.
So that is something that made a huge difference. But yeah, it definitely killed me from inside, because today I have come to a phase, Jyoti, where I really don't care what people think, whether I can cook food or I can't cook food. If you're my friend, you will know very well how good of a cook I am. If you're not my friend, you don't even need to know what I do.
Mhm.
It's just
Correct,
as simple as that.
correct,
So I
correct.
really, what you judge about me, the way I look, the way I carry myself, it today it makes no difference. But for me to reach this stage, I say it took me a good 15 years to work on this. Because of course I didn't have that kind of a support system. That's why it took me so long. But yeah, it's been a very what should I say,
Mhm.
tough journey for me, I would say.
Yeah, that's
But I'm
great.
happy.
Yeah, that's a nice instance or story that you shared, Nita. Seeking validation is not only when it comes to your in-laws, your parents, your family, and everything. It comes from social media as well. So I'll share about my story. When I started writing
Sure.
posts on social media like LinkedIn and Facebook, I every 10 minutes or 5 minutes I used to go and see how many likes, how many views, how many likes. You get so obsessed with, okay, is it being
Yes.
appreciated by people over there? And at that
Hmm.
moment, I forget if what I'm writing is coming straight from my heart or not. What you
Hmm,
want
hmm,
to
hmm.
write, we should not be looking for external validation. If you
True.
feel like there is a story, underdog story that we have learned, there is an
Hmm.
underdog story, you share it with the world. Be vulnerable
Hmm.
enough to share that with the world. So basically, when we talk about children, so the limited time on social media can be an added advantage when we talk about what we should do. And we should
Hmm.
also
Hmm.
be focusing on the genuine connection. Only because someone trying to praise you fakingly is not making a difference.
Yeah.
And we should
Absolutely.
always avoid seeking validation through likes and comments, Instagram,
Yeah. True.
LinkedIn, Facebook, anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Correct. So basically, constant validation can lead to always anxiety and low self-esteem. So initially, when my post did not get 15 likes, 50 likes, 100 likes, I used to get demotivated at that moment. Oh my God, am I
Hmm.
not doing something correct? So all the brand social
Right.
media managers used to come and they used to tell me, Jyoti, there are a lot of things that you are not doing correct. So definitely I'm open to learning. But
Hmm.
getting feeling that anxiety is not the outcome.
Hmm.
So what do you think when you
True.
feel like low self-esteem?
Hmm.
I think spending time with yourself, asking questions, logical questions with yourself is the best way. What do you think? How to avoid that low self-esteem?
Okay, I'll tell you from my fifth grade till 10th standard in my school, Jyoti, I never had a bench partner. I just never had a bench partner. Not a single child would come and sit next to me. Okay. And I had till 10th standard, I really had no clue what is it that kind of put them off. I never understood, because no one actually came and said it to me. Of course, now we are very good friends. But at that point, that 11-year-old girl, who grew up with this thing that why is everyone sidelining me? So that hurt stayed for a very long time. So I'm sure if I, as a child, endured it, I'm sure a lot of other children are also dealing with this and they don't know what to do with that pain because they're not getting the answers. So I think this is a very, very challenging situation, and that's why I emphasize on having a very healthy communication with your children, because for me it took like a period of 15 years to work on myself and build my self-worth, build my self-confidence in myself.
Mm.
uh, the kind of job interviews that I gave, I finished all my cabin crew courses and everything I did, like I said, I was doing everything perfect, everything nice, my portfolios were good and everything, and still I the only thing that I faced was rejections. So I just never understood, and half of the people used to say, oh, you have a model face, you have a this face. I was like, yeah, if everything is so good, why the hell am I not getting selected? Why are you guys rejecting me? Just tell me the reason. But till today I don't know the reason, but now I think that that probably wasn't really meant for me. Today I'm in a better space to understand myself, but a lot of, if we speak about the younger lot, I'm not sure if they are that matured enough, though they have so much of exposure to social media and everything and information. I'm not sure if they understand how to put that into use, and that is where we as parents or as a support we come into the picture, because we are supposed to channelize these emotions to build their self-worth and not to lower them down, because a child with a low self-esteem is going to grow up as a very frustrated and angry short-tempered adult,
Correct. As
which
said
is
by
going
you,
to
I
hamper.
just want, yeah, that's a very important perspective. I was about to talk on this particular topic. Peer pressure can be a strong influencer. When we talk about
Yes.
getting influenced by uh, behavior, someone's behavior, and we are actually influenced. We are not talking about this particular instance with our parents, guardians, anyone, not even with our
Hmm.
brothers or sisters. And
Yes.
especially this happens amongst the teenagers, and they
Hmm.
don't talk to their parents. If they would have spoken to the parents, definitely the parents may have, and there are busy people around, all around, who are busy with their office job and everything. They don't get time to talk to the children at all. So those are the children who feel left out, and they seek all these things outside their
Hmm. Hmm.
home. So peer pressure can be a strong influence, and the only way that we can avoid that is being there with our children.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because see, the gadget is not going to complete the gap of a parent. If you're giving an iPad or an iPhone or whatever, a tablet to your child, thinking that this is going to compensate for your absence, I think that's the worst thing that you can do to raise a child. So either don't have children in the first place, okay? Because if you're choosing to bring a life on this earth, on this
Yes.
planet, it comes with a role and a responsibility. And if taking 15 minutes out of your so-called busy schedule is so tough, then really don't bring children into this planet, because uh, you are, raising children in a very wrong way who are going to grow up in a very what should I say, in an with a mindset of, this needs to happen now, this is what I want right now, with that short temperedness, with that anger, frustration. And we really do not want these kind of children or adults who are going to create a havoc in everyone else. Imagine someone who is so frustrated and angry becomes a team leader of some company. I mean, imagine what is going to happen for the team members. It's going to be so difficult, for them to manage this kind of a person.
Mhm.
So these things come with their own challenges, but I guess it's our responsibility as grown-ups, as adults, to provide a safe space to our children. to take some time out for them, besides the gadgets, just human to human talk, not without the gadgets, and build that bond. Today we are forgetting the importance of creating the bonds between humans. We're creating too much of bonds between televisions and mobile phones and labels. I recently saw a video on Instagram where this lady was speaking that recently, the lady was talking about her daughter, where she said that one of the lady was trying to label her daughter, and she chose to speak about that at exact that moment in front of the child, so that the child doesn't grow with that label in her head. So
Correct.
it apparently the other lady told her that, oh yeah, your daughter's too shy. So she said, no,
Hmm.
she's not too shy. She takes her own time to trust people, and once she builds that trust, she can easily open up and communicate to them. And I thought like, oh my god, why didn't I see this video 10 years back? Because in our country, when I see these kind of situations, Jyoti, it's like,
Hmm.
the children are left aside and the parents end up fighting.
Correct. Correct.
You know, which shouldn't be the case. Ideally, we should be focusing that nobody is allowed to label my child or anybody's child for that matter,
Hmm. Right.
because these labels stay in their head and they grow with that thing. I am not good enough. I am always average performer. Okay. Or even if children who are always praised that I'm always good, and imagine if they suddenly fail into something.
Hmm.
Imagine the kind of impact the child is going to have. And how is a
Right.
child going to handle that failure if you have never been told that failure is not a cup of your tea?
Correct.
How do you think what goes into the head of the child?
Correct. So that's why, we talk about there is no failure. Either there is success or
Hmm.
there's learning. So you have
Hmm.
learned something out of that experience, and definitely it's going to help you in your next step. So when we talk about we need to define our own success, and we should not be based on societal norms. So the best way that we do, Neeta, is mirror exercise, or get into a habit of appreciating yourself. The more you appreciate yourself, your subconscious gets into that habit of getting those evidences. So once those evidences starts occurring in front of you, that's when it the belief system builds, and that's when we have a famous example of Serena Williams, who
Yeah.
broke barriers in tennis while embracing her unique style and physique. So that's a beautiful
Absolutely.
example, and just like Serena Williams, there are so many examples. When you, even if you are not good at something, talk to yourself. You are a unique being. Talk to yourself. No one is as good as you. You are the best
Hmm.
in the form you exist. So
Absolutely.
let's talk about the coaching language. How to coach ourselves when we go through the anxiety, low self-esteem, or we have been honored enough, or blessed enough to be in that journey wherein we are able to figure out what is wrong, what is right. But I am sure there are 55% of people who are the top notches, maybe, who are doing excellent in their career, but they don't know the basics of their own self. So that is really important. What do you want to talk about?
Wow, like you said, yeah, we are totally blessed and we understand the importance of being aware, when we are going low on ourselves, when we are being too harsh on ourselves. And even if we are coaches, we are not gods. So we also have our ups and downs.
Correct.
And which is okay, even as a coach or whatever, it's okay to have our down. The point is, how long do you stay in that state of low or being down? Okay, it's okay to stay down and feel low, and even if you want to cry it out, then cry it out, let the tears flow, because you're letting out your emotions. You're not choking yourself up, you're not bottling yourself up. Acknowledge that pain, whatever is that you're feeling. But once you have acknowledged it, and then let go of that.
Correct.
Letting go is very important, because the more you bottle up these emotions inside of you, the more they're going to create a havoc inside your body. you know I mean, it's not going to affect the people around you. The only person to be affected is going to be you. That's why, letting go, forgiveness are such powerful exercises, and trust me, I really didn't realize the importance of forgiveness until I actually started practicing forgiveness for a lot of people, and for my own self also. I see a huge amount of change.
Yeah, because
Huge amount of change.
that occupies a crucial part of your brain. If you have an
True.
anger or about something, you want to take a revenge, you have anger that this particular thing happened, and of lately I created a
Yes.
post on that particular topic also. That person don't even remember that this particular thing happened. Why the hell are you taking it in your brain? Just release
True,
that
true, true,
thought, and there are so many
true.
good things that can come into your mind, and you can be more productive with the positive thoughts rather than,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's what a lot of people deal with. They're constantly living in the past. Uh,
Yes.
so whether it's like, your personal life, suppose I'm going to work today, but my head is still thinking about what happened last night at the party. And so I'm not able to focus in my work space also, and I can't do anything about what happened last night also. So who is suffering? It's you who is suffering, and
Yes.
it's your work that's getting affected. But this is a very short example that I gave, but people tend to stay in their past for such a long time that by the time they realize that I should be living my life, either they're too old or they don't have energy, or they just, they're no more there on this earth. So
Mhm.
why live that kind of a life? You just have one. I don't know about reincarnations or rebirths, but we just have one life. So why shouldn't you just forgive, let go, and just live? That's
Yes.
it.
So as we both got a message, if you remember, both got a message that what is your plan B. So if we would have seek the whatever influence or the decision of that particular person, so I said that there is no plan B. Whatever I'm doing, I am just continuing with my journey. And your answer was
I
what
said
was
there is no plan. There shouldn't be no plan B. There should be no plan B. There is no plan B, I said.
correct?
Because when you have a plan B, you start relying on that, which means that you're not giving your 100% to plan A in the
Correct.
first place. Okay, which means that you haven't planned your plan A in such a way that it will work out for you.
Mhm.
I am not saying that, don't create a backup.
That is
You need to create a backup and a support, which means that you need to understand and foresee, what are
so.
the challenges that might come, what are the blocks that might come, what are the conversations that might conflict with my ideas, and how do I come up with solutions for that beforehand. So
Mhm.
when you are going well prepared, considering all these aspects, while you're creating your support, that okay, let's say if my business is going to take another 6 months to run, what am I going to do to take care of my family? So that's the kind of planning that needs to be done, even if it's like, if you're someone who is working in a job and wants to make a switch over and wants to try to do something new, you have to create a backup plan, not a plan B. A backup support for yourself, which means that if you are going to take 6 months or 1 year, what is it that you are going to do for yourself and your family? Because they
Survival.
shouldn't be affected with your plans. Yes.
Yes,
So
correct.
that's what I meant by plan A. There has to be just one plan A, and it has to be laser sharp focused, considering all the circumstances, come what may. And if
Correct.
you see, these are the kind of people who succeed, who stay
Yes.
persistent.
Yes, and very very nicely explained, Neeta. Actually, that's the fact. If you look for Plan B, your Plan A is in danger, or you are not trusting your Plan A. You have not
True.
put up the steps. What are the steps to be followed at what regular intervals, whether you have it or not?
True.
So when we talk about
Yes.
self-compassion, self-belief, and all these things definitely comes into picture. And when we are, when what's the time when we will not seek for validation, when we have a strong mindset, and strong mindset only comes with when you don't bother about whether you are being praised or whether you are being blamed. So I don't get bothered if someone is blaming me that you did this. I know in my senses that I did everything right. So I am not impacted by your opinion. So don't get
Absolutely.
opinionated. So that's the thing. You should have a strong mindset. Self-compassion,
True.
self-belief, all these things creates your mindset, right? And your praise and blame, as I said, again, gain and loss. You are again not seeking validation. So there is a person who lost a lot of amount in share market, and people used to tell him, you are not good enough, you have not learned the markets enough. But that was not the case. In market there is a strategy, there is a lot of learning, but one failure will not define
Define
whatever you
you.
have learned. Yeah. So
Yes,
that's the
yes.
thing. Stop, even if you have done a mistake, take ownership of that mistake. Be responsible. Once we start taking that responsibility, that's when miracles happen. So we talk about fame and disgrace. So if we are getting fame, everyone is very appreciative. When we are being disgraced, so there are people, unwanted opinions against come into the market. So we need to be beware of these unsolicited advices. That's where we lack our focus, we lack our commitment to what we are trying to do. And again, the same thing, pleasure and pain. We want to enjoy a lot of things, but when we are in pain, we only go and seek validation from people. Why the hell do you need a validation? It is, you need to take the onus of your life. You are not a passenger. You are the driver, you are
True.
the CEO of your life. So that's
Absolutely.
about validation. And I think it's a very vast topic, and it depends on person to person how they take it. But I think we have done justice to it. So the final words of wisdom before we just end up.
Absolutely. I just want to share two things over here. One is, Bob Proctor always said, most of the people are being the side characters in their own life story. Stop being a side character in your life story and make yourself the main character in your story. So start focusing on yourself. What is it that you want? And the second, and I think the story that's very inspiring is our own Mr. Amitabh Bachchan Jyoti. You would know what he
Yes.
went through when his ABCL cop failed. Okay, and he was like such a mega star. I mean, he still is. But there was a phase in his life when he was completely bankrupt. He was struggling with money. There
He
were
was
money
rejected
lenders.
from radio because of his heavy voice.
Yeah, but that was in his earlier days, right?
Yeah.
And then he tasted fame. He stayed in that famous era for a very long time until he just fell on the ground where there was no money, and there
Right.
were these people who were coming to take their money back and ask. But what I really admire now, again, this is debatable because a lot of people will say, "Oh yeah, he's Amitabh Bachchan and he's a big star," that's all. But I don't think so. That really mattered because if he would have thought in that
But
way,
11
you know,
initial flops, 11 flop movies. That's the start of his career. 11 flop movies, and the 12th one was a hit. That's his.
I no, yeah, I understand. But what I'm trying to tell Jyoti is in the beginning of his career he struggled, he saw those challenges, but
Correct.
he had not tasted success, which means that that comfort that comes when you earn that huge chunk of money, that what should I say, that comfort of travel, the ease of living in a luxurious house and everything. So suddenly you have money for everything. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that he saw a very luxurious life in that phase, and then he suddenly fell flat, okay, when his APCL didn't work, which means that someone who has stayed at a peak is suddenly fallen down. It can be very difficult for that person to handle that situation. But as graceful as he is, I remember even when he came to Pune in one company to give a motivational talk for a very small amount, to as a star of his stature. He got paid a very small amount for that. But that's the humbleness that comes, that's the way he handled things. He ensured that he returned everyone's money with complete gratitude, and he rose back to the same space where he was already there,
Correct.
so it's even at that age he chose to fight instead of saying that he could have easily said, "I've gone bankrupt, I can't pay you."
Correct. Correct.
but he chose to pay everyone back, and then he started rising in his career. And then of course we know the story, kaun banega crorepati happened. So what I'm trying to say is, it's very difficult for those people who have tasted success, who have stayed over there, they have
Mhm.
seen and lived that kind of life, and if they fall from that success pedestal down, coming back again over there is a challenge for them. And I'm sure his journey must have been very challenging in that phase, but for me that's the most inspiring part of how he chose to rise up again.
Mhm.
No, he was Amitabh Bachchan, so he didn't need validation,
Mhm.
but still he had to go to all places to speak, to give motivational talks.
Wow.
People saw it as an opportunity that I can invite them for a small amount of, so and so rupees, and Mr. Amitabh Bachchan will come give a talk in our company.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that's I think a very relatable story over here. Like, I mean, he still today is the biggest star.
Yeah, actually, I just watched a reel from Shah Rukh Khan yesterday, and he was just sharing the learnings what Amitabh Bachchan told him that always, whenever you are meeting the audience or the public, the general public, you should always smile and bow your hands and everything. And even if someone that's a very important part that I got attached to, because he said even if someone pushes you from the public, general public,
Hmm.
don't ever try to push them back, because people will say, even if you're not drunk, people will say that you were drunk, because you are a personality. So being a
Yes,
personality, you need to maintain your stature and everything. People is of utmost importance, so that's important.
absolutely. Yes, yes,
So
right.
the bottom line is, don't get carried away by whether you're feeling happy, whether you're feeling sad, whether you are getting the top priority somewhere. You are
Hmm.
not getting the top priority. Your boss is
Hmm.
appreciating someone else. You are not being appreciated. Just be your best. Even if you are a cobbler, try to mend the best shoes in the market, and someone or the other will definitely recognize you, and you will reach a position where you are deserving. So no need to seek for validation. That's my understanding, and that's what I have followed throughout my life. So
True.
having said that, thank you so much, Neeta, for coming on the Terrace and Diwali. Tomorrow is Diwali, but then
Yes.
you made your time, and thank you everyone for watching. Even if you have not watched, the live is already there on YouTube and LinkedIn. You can do that. Okay, so till then, happy Diwali everyone, enjoy, and
Yeah.
take care, stay blessed, stay happy. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Neeta.
wishing all our audience happy Diwali. Wishing you a very happy Diwali as well, Jyoti.
And we are not
Let the
coming on
light take
Mondays
away all the
because of,
darkness.
yes, we are not coming on Monday because of Diwali. So we will be joining the LinkedIn live on a Wednesday and a Friday this week, coming week.
Yeah, but I'm not there.
Okay. We'll try to figure out something. Thank you so much, Neeta. Happy Diwali. Take care.
Yeah. Happy Diwali.